Dun, dun. Welcome to me reacting to. Let me read this quick. True Facts: The Remarkable Adaptation of Shrimp by Z Frank. Honestly, this looks more like a crab. But I love this guy's video for like a long time. 4 million subscribers, damn. I just want to share my reaction. Click.
It is. What emerges is a nauplius.
What the fuck?
This
Okay.
episode sponsored by NordVPN.
True Facts.
This right here is a tiny little egg, and it's just about to hatch. Oh, there it is. What
There we go.
emerges is a nauplius, or the larva of a shrimp. Now, at this
Shrimpy.
point, it doesn't really look like a shrimp, does it? More like a painful hug. But that's because it needs
It
some
looks
time
weird.
to grow. As it grows, it
Monster.
molts. It sheds its outside skeleton and grows a new one. And in
So
each
tiny.
molt, there's an opportunity to change things up a bit. I mean, this is a much more radical puberty than getting some hair on your pits. But eventually, they get their shrimp together.
There
and
we
emerge
go.
as
It looks more like a shrimp
juvenile.
now.
Like all arthropods, shrimps are made out of segments. And each segment can come with its own pair of
Big
sticky
shrimp.
outy things, or appendages. Now, this can be a fairly straightforward way to build a body.
That's a
Ask
cool
centipede, head,
shrimp.
body, butt. But shrimps, which are decapods,
I see
along
this
with
one in
lobsters
aquariums
and
all the time.
crabs, had to go and make everything more complicated. Everything's customized. The segments all the way in the back
Cherry
have these fanny
shrimp.
bits.
I have
Right,
these.
In the UK, that means something different. You know, potato, tomato, vagina. It's
What
all
the
right,
fuck?
they can handle it. Anyway, the next set of segments have appendages called swimmerets.
Is that
Quite
freshwater
cute.
or
Look
saltwater
like they
shrimp?
could give a good tickle. Oh, well, that's some
That's a
haughty
that's a
swimming right
saltwater.
there,
That's
isn't it?
deep
Look at
deep
my
water
fancy
shrimp.
antenna. I mean, you better have ended world hunger if you're going to swim like that.
What's that hanging down below
Now,
the
the next
antenna?
5 segments have pairs of legs on them,
Prawns.
which is a good thing because decapod means 10-legged.
This is
You'd
freshwater.
be ashamed to f that up. It's not always easy to make them out. It's a bit of a jumbled mess. Looks like a man in a trench coat trying to smuggle
Aquarium
a bunch
shrimp.
of phone cords. Anyway, after that cluster you have 3
What the
more
hell?
pairs of appendages up front that help with the
What's with the
eating.
swearing?
The 2 pairs right next to the mouth are often quite small, sort of a cross between a mustache and fingers that help cram stuff into their mouth hole. But this 3rd pair here is more like a pair of arms, and they can often get quite long. And what's at the very
Longy
end
boy.
of it will often be modified depending on what they eat. You got good old pincers, for example. They're good for grabbing random crap off the floor. And by crap, I
Tiny
mean
shrimp.
crap. Or maybe you want to hold on to a fish that
Is
you're
that a
eating
head?
ass first. Whatever,
Eating ass
just
first.
bring it back to your mustache fingers and bon appetit. But one of the cool things about living in water is
That looks like
there's
a ghost
food
shrimp.
just floating around you. You know when you try to catch a snowflake on your tongue? It's like that, but with rotting flesh, clam sperm, and fish feces. Now,
Ew.
some shrimp got wise to that opportunity. and
Filter
they swap
fish.
their
It's a bamboo
pincers
shrimp.
for Whatever those are. Maybe a floppy spork or Venus fly hands. The bamboo shrimp really went for it. Just sits back.
That looks
and
like a
shrimp.
vampire shrimp,
I mean,
though.
That's how you lick the Cheetos
You can tell by
dust
the
off your
le-
fingers
the
right
claw
there.
leg.
A
The
bit
claw
lazy,
leg.
but no judgment. Schloomp, except for the part where I said they were lazy. Limnomyces benedeni, which is an amazing name, has a more active pigpen approach. Instead of waiting for stuff to float by, they sort of run in place with their little swimmerets. Sort of looks like if they didn't hold on, they'd shoot forward like in a cartoon.
What the hell?
Anyway, this all kicks up a cloud of detritus, which is then funneled in the general direction of their mouths. Oops.
They're
Missed
the
a bit
garbage
there.
eater.
Schloomp. Now, the harlequin shrimp wasn't
Ah,
into all
that's
this
the shrimp.
zippity-doo nonsense, and it decided to go for larger prey. Now, first off, they do look crazy. It's like looking into the trash after
They
a
look
balloon
like a
animal
clown.
birthday party. But if you can figure out what's what,
Ah,
you can
okay,
see
it looks
that
nicer
the
in
arm
this
thing they have ends in almost a spatula shape.
Spatula.
And then you're thinking, oh, it's like a spoon. Finally, something appropriate for the
Punchy,
soup of the
punchy.
ocean. A bit flat, but certainly more civilized. Wrong. These are spatulas of death.
Death?
You see, harlequin shrimp are hunters, and what they hunt are starfish.
Kill the
And
starfish.
those bespatulaed hands
Oh
are
my.
just right for flipping them over.
Double team it.
Like some ornamental pancake you might make for a picky child. Look at that. That's teamwork right there. Of course, the starfish is like, with all the things I have to worry about. Now I've got a pair of psycho clowns trying to flip my
Psycho
shit
clowns.
over. And you know what the shrimp do when they flip that starfish over? Yeah, they eat their feet. And I'm not talking about some fetish thing either. Like they actually eat their feet. Because some shrimps are crazy like that. I mean, look at this one. It's eviscerating that fish. I bet you didn't know you
Is that fish still alive?
faded, that sort of thing. And it gets worse. Look at that. It takes another fish out of the first fish's stomach. Should have left it in. Be like an underwater turducken. But there are plenty of shrimp that foster much healthier relationships.
He's a friend.
Right here is Lismata emboinensis.
He a friend.
It's one of a number of species
Clean my
referred
teeth.
to as cleaner shrimp. And you can see that it's comfortable getting into a hole that many creatures would spend a lot of energy trying to stay out of. Now, it's known that shrimp are delicious, so whatever they're doing in there has to be better than eating one. From the shrimp's point of view, of course, they're not cleaning anything.
Clean my teeth.
They like eating at a very specific sort of restaurant.
The dentist of the sea.
Dead skin and parasites. And luckily, for these cleaner shrimp anyway, there's a lot of parasites down there. I mean, it's a big enough problem that these shrimp don't even have to go out and find the fish. The fish come to them. They set up shop somewhere and then they do this little dance. You know, like the people that flip those signs around for a car wash. And it's essentially a way to flag down the itchy fishes. I know what you're saying. I wouldn't want a shrimp in my orifice. Well, you probably haven't had leeches. I mean, look at this poor bastard. He's covered in them. I don't know if you really need the arrows to point it out. But for a shrimp, I mean, that's like coming across a tray of shoestring potato fries.
Clean it.
They just
Clean it.
wiggle a bit
Clean
when you
it.
bite
Clean
into
it.
them.
Clean it.
And then you
Clean
have
it.
smaller
Shrimp, clean
things
it.
like ciliated protozoans that bury themselves right into fish flesh. And you know it's satisfying to dig one of those out. It's like getting the meat out of a pistachio nut. Or tongue-popping the
I did
bean
not
out
need
the
to know
pod
that.
of a salted edamame. You know what I'm saying. And listen, if you've got yourself a case of the parasites, you can look a bit ridden hard and put away wet. Fish are always wet, but even wetter. But look at that, after a shrimp takes a turn, eating straight from your
thank
body,
you.
you're as good as new.
Thank you, Shrimpy.
Listen, you might just need something to clean off your parasites. I'm talking about those internet parasites you can get from opening up
I'm
random
skipping.
attachments from
Skipping
your
the
mom
NordVPN
or
ad.
connecting to unsecure networks in the cafe.
Skip. Where's it? Right about here.
Get a great
There
service
you go.
and support a sponsor.
I already
of
have a
this show.
VPN. I'm good.
Where were we? Oh, right. The relationships
shrimp
that
looks
shrimps
cool.
have with other animals aren't all just short-term and transactional. They can commit.
What kind of shrimp is this?
Emperor shrimp get cozy
looks like
with
a
sea cucumbers
flamingo
and seem to use them
face
for
shrimp.
transportation because they're lazy little fucks. Look at that, hanging off the side like it's a Mardi Gras float.
Look at
Not
that flat
exactly the
face.
express
The
train
flat
either,
face shrimp.
But it does have a fancy dining cart. In spawning season, sea cucumbers will let loose their ejaculate into the water, as is the custom. And the emperor shrimps live out some decadent fantasy
that's
of bathing
nasty.
in and eating
They-
from a geyser of caviar. And of course, the benefit
They
for
wanna
the sea
eat that,
cucumber
ew.
is it gets to watch. A number
Why
of shrimp
would-
get into long-term relationships with different sorts of coral. And that's cool because coral can grab food right out the water with their little polyp fingers. And then the shrimp can just walk over and take it.
That shrimp
And
has a
what's the
funny
coral
back.
gonna do? Make a little fist? Why, I oughta. And sometimes these relationships go on for a very
that's
long
nice
time.
camouflage.
And they start finishing each other's
there,
sentences
right
and wearing
there.
each other's clothes until it's hard to tell them apart. You know, like Alcina
here.
hippolyte commensalis
Right
and
here.
Xenia coral.
Where my mouse is.
Paraclemenus amboinensis might as well be a crinoid. For crinoid loud.
Crinoid.
That's a deep
Okay.
dad joke.
That's a dumb jet
Those
joke.
harlequin shrimp, I bet you were wondering, blend into f***ing nothing because nothing else wants to look like that.
They're
These
clowns.
squat shrimps here don't just stop at looking the part. They do a bit of method acting. I mean, there's see-through ones. There's ones that are sort of see-through.
That one has
Varians
eggs.
comes in 2 colors, each for blending into a different sort of seagrass. But each of those has the ability to change into the other color.
What kind of shrimp is that?
But blending in is just one way to get some extra protection. Paraclemenes yucatanicus repeatedly touches the stinging arms of the anemone until it builds up resistance to the poison. And after that, it's got a home base that most things aren't keen on getting too close to. And of course, you can always find yourself a hidey hole or build one. A number of shrimp in the genus Alpheus shack up
dig.
with the goby fish.
Dig,
The
dig,
shrimp
dig.
is in charge of all tunnel-related activities,
Dig,
building
dig,
it,
dig.
maintaining it, while the goby, which has much better eyesight, is on watch duty.
That looks like a
sometimes
pistol
having
shrimp.
roommates gets a bit awkward.
Dig, dig,
sort
dig,
of
dig,
a
dig.
third wheel situation, but they've figured out how to make it work.
Third wheel.
But don't start thinking that these shrimps can't fend for themselves in a pinch, or snap, really. You'll see. The common names for these shrimps in the family Alphiidae are
Oh, there's 2
pistol
of them.
shrimps or snapping shrimps. And to be honest, what they can do is somewhere between a shot and a West Side Story snap. They have this one enlarged claw with special modifications. The top part of the claw
Pistol
has a
shrimp.
piece on it that fits into a hollowed out socket on the bottom
PLS,
part.
pistol.
Using a latch, they can build up tension on that joint so much that the skeleton itself deforms, and then snap. As it closes, a jet of water is forced out of that hollow through a small
Kaboom!
opening. I know what
Concussion.
you're saying. I can make water squirt with 2 cupped hands in a swimming pool. That's not a defense. Well, it is if you do it really f***ing fast. Like the whole thing happens in less than 2/3 of a millisecond. You see, as this jet of water shoots out, the water it pushes through creates a swirling pattern, almost like a smoke ring. They're called vortex rings. For a teensy moment in the middle of these rings, an area of incredibly low pressure forms in what's called a cavitation bubble. It's basically a bubble inside of which there isn't really any liquid water. And in an instant, the whole thing collapses as water from all sides rushes in to fill the void. This collapse creates a shockwave of high pressure that can stun or even kill another shrimp. That shockwave goes in all directions, so to protect themselves, these shrimp have a sort of helmet. There's a layer of water between the outside of their noggin and
they
their
have
brain.
helmets?
When the shock hits, water is expelled out, buffering some of the blow. And it's not just for fighting and hunting either. They do this snap thing to communicate. And it's friggin' loud. These here are snapping shrimp in the genus Synalpheus. I mean, look at that big-ass claw. They live inside sponges. And you can see, here, they make a ruckus. Now, what's interesting about Synalpheus is that they're eusocial. Well, that's right, Jerry. It would be a good name for a social network. I mean, if they still existed and we weren't sucking off the ubiquitous teat of the algorithm. These shrimps are eusocial, like bees
even
and ants,
YouTube
with
is messing with
workers and
them.
queens, and they're the only underwater animal to do that. Now, there's another sort of shrimp that likes to live in sponges, and it's a different kind of sponge,
the
too.
sea sponge.
These are glass sponges. Their skeletons are made from these intricate lattices of silica. This one right here is called a Venus flower basket.
For people who are afraid of the tiny holes everywhere.
These has a male and female shrimp living inside of them. Look at that. You can see one of the claws right there.
I see it. Right
These
there.
shrimp swim into the sponge when they're small
inside.
enough to fit through those little holes. But at some point, they grow too big to get out again. Apparently, there's enough to eat in there, and then they get bored and make some babies. They leave.
They're eating the inside? What the hell?
And then it's just the two of them, waiting to die. I mean, it's almost like marriage, except, well, it's like marriage. He's like, look, honey, they've come to save us. Wait, don't go. If there's only room for one, just take me. No. Sorry, honey. I didn't mean it. No, we didn't forget mantis shrimp, Jerry. We're just not doing them.
The OG video.
They're not friggin' shrimp. They're not even decapods. Well, I know they're called shrimp. This one's called the peacock mantis shrimp.
The psycho
shrimp.
shrimp.
It isn't. Apparently, you can call whatever you want a shrimp. Look at this. They call this a clam shrimp. Yeah. If it was actually those things, you'd be halfway to a paella.
My eyes are freaking out.
Some of the ones we showed aren't even true shrimp. But who puts the word true in front of something to add some sort of authority? And don't get me started on prawns. They're shrimp. Big shrimp. The British need a different word for everything. It probably means vagina. It's true, Jerry. Half the words in the British dictionary mean vagina.
What the hell?
A cup of tea means. That's why they're always on about it. Nobody could drink that much tea.
Anyway, thank you for watching my reaction to shrimp. Okay, thank you. Wait, I gotta do the thing. Like my video, subscribe. I want to get monetized now. Now.